Well, hello campers, hope we're all doing fantastically well. It is Conor, we're back here, and look, I'm calling Sunday the start of the week. It is the start of the week now. I'm having it. We're back into Championship football. It's done, signed, sealed, delivered. Thank God the international break is nearly over and we're into the week. We've got loads of bits coming for you this week. Make sure you stay in tune to One Leeds as always, everybody. And let's get into it, shall we? So Charlie Cresswell was speaking about Leeds United yesterday, which was interesting. He was speaking about his move to Toulouse, saying he watches Leeds all the time, to be honest with you. And it did get me thinking last year when it came to rotation, when it came to Cresswell in the Premier League, for goodness sake. Having that brilliant performance against West Ham United, against Mikel Antonio. And he's doing well in Toulouse. He's doing really well. He's got a lot of plaudits out there. My granddad actually lives near Toulouse as well, and he's been speaking about how apparently out there the French are really enjoying him. Obviously, he's a lad from Leeds, so it's a little bit different to what they normally get when it comes to signings. But apparently they're all really enjoying him. He's doing really well out there. And it seems good for Charlie. I'm happy for him. You know, he seemed like he always wanted the best for Leeds United. I do wonder, would there ever be a little bit of a return there as well? Because Charlie just needed to develop on a few bits of his game. But the experience at Toulouse, I mean, going to a different country like we've seen for so many of our young lads from our shores, you know, when it comes to like Jadon Sancho, when it comes to Jude Bellingham, players like that, maybe there is something in his contract which sees him coming back to Leeds at some point. Who knows? But yeah, listen, it was nice to hear him talk about Leeds United. And if you want to check that out, everybody, there has been an interview online. Just simply to sort of type in Charlie Cresswell and Toulouse interview about Leeds United. It's really good listen, really good watch. So yeah, there you go. But Charlie Cresswell, did he get a fair crack of the whip? That's what I was always thinking, you know, when it came to Leeds United. I always thought, I don't know, was he ever good enough on the half turn? I was never 100% sure that he was quick enough. But listen, a player who maybe Leeds revisit in the future. Who knows? Something else I wanted to talk about was the internationals from last night as well. Conor Solomon being a key part in Israel's win last night, which was good. Now, the big thing, obviously, that you're taking away from it all is the injury status. No injuries, it looks like, even though Dan James did go off with, I believe he went off with a bit of ice across his ankle. He scored as well last night and got an assist for Wales in their 3-1 win as well. So really good when it comes to momentum. I always think on international break, it's really important that the lads get wins. I know it sounds ridiculous, but it's like when we come to cup competitions with Leeds United, getting wins, it transfers over to the league. It's winning momentum for me. It's consistency. You know, it's breeding success. It's breeding, as I've just mentioned there, that momentum. So it's good that both of the wingers played last night, played big portions of the match as well, like you can see. And Dan James, hopefully, even though he went off with ice on his ankle, let's hope that that's going to be all right for Dan, and let's hope he's going to be fit and firing. He seems to do it every single game from what I've seen with Dan James, just helps with the blood flow. So let's hope that he's going to be fit and firing for Leeds United's next game against Swansea, who he seems to do well against as well. I wanted to speak as well about, you know, Conor Solomon getting more minutes in the tank. I think the good thing about Solomon is he's kind of just, so far anyway, touch wood, he's shook off all those injury problems, those major surgeries of which he was involved in, those major surgeries which hugely impacted his career. And now he's playing for club and country so many minutes. Like, I didn't expect this from Conor Solomon, to be honest, to go away again, to get those miles under your belt again, and that match fitness to get sharper and sharper has been really impressive from the Israeli winger. So he's got to have a big part to play, a real big part to play. Because what I would say about Conor, and maybe this does come back to the injury status, I would say about Conor Solomon, maybe some of his performances have been a little bit in spells over the last couple of games, which would point, obviously, to tiredness. Dan James, it's been a little bit more worrying from my perspective in terms of how knackered he's looked in the last 2 games. There might have to be a change there, especially with him playing such a big part last night for a really arduous game for Wales. Welsh lads, let me know in the comment section below what you made of his performance. And someone else I wanted to speak about today as well, everybody, and we will be doing the hardline tonight. If you're interested, we're going to be speaking about the transfer news that has been linked with Leeds United recently that I want to talk about. I'm going to speak about him in just a second, but we're going to be speaking about what Leeds need to do on the way back, how on earth we need to get these wins, how we're going to go about it. What does Farke need to do? Does it need to be a change of system, change of personnel? And we're going to be getting into that with Gabe, who Maybe he's calmed down, maybe he hasn't from last week. I've not spoken to him, but a very hot game last time out. A very heated game, so we'll wait and see on that front. But when it comes back down to the obvious, when it comes back down to Leeds getting back into it, there seems to be a lot of rumours at the minute about Kalvin Phillips. Now, Kalvin Phillips, I believe, has had 300 minutes, then he's had 400 minutes. This is per season, by the way. 300 minutes, 400 minutes, then 1,200 minutes. He's part of a relegation setup right now, of which Ipswich will go down. And apparently, according to several reports, and there isn't any smoke without fire, this seems to be coming from everywhere. Where, you know, obviously I live on the dark side of the Pennines. He seems to be big over there as well when it comes to Man City news. I've still got my fingers in some of the blue pies there as well. Seems to be big. City are wanting to get rid of him. City have got basically their entire club trying to get rid of him from the recruitment standpoint, and they're looking at potential clubs that would take him on. And apparently, according to several reports, Kalvin Phillips, a 29-year-old, wants the move to Leeds. He mentioned last year that if Leeds were to get promoted, you know, he mentioned with an interview with Ipswich that it was a really tough call. If Leeds would have got promoted, he'd have had to really sit down and think about whether or not he'd go to Leeds and Ipswich. Or Ipswich, I should say. Obviously, he loved the sort of the project with McKenna, but Leeds is boyhood club. So this is all coming back around again. The links are obvious. Ipswich are not going to take on his wages. Ipswich are not going to take him on, obviously. Kalvin is on extortionate wages right now, and he would have to come down significantly. You guys know my opinion on Kalvin Phillips. Right now, Leeds have got a better midfield. I rate Ampadu over Phillips right now. I think Tanaka is a better, well-rounded midfielder than Kalvin Phillips. The whole conversation will be, well, look, he's been Man City. He's played for Man City. He's you know, he was in the England side in 2021. Well, great, but we're in 2025 now, and Kalvin Phillips is 29, nearly 30 years of age, not getting enough minutes under his belt, and he's going to be part of a relegation setup of which he's had a key part to play. And if you ask probably any Ipswich fan, maybe their best pairing is Jens Kjust and Kalvin Phillips, but it's very close between Phillips and Morsey. I can say that for a fact. Kalvin would be taking up a significant wage structure at Leeds United. He needs Leeds way more than we need him, way more. And I just hope that we just don't do the Leeds United thing of old where we get fleeced for these things. If we were to go up, I'm just praying that we don't get fleeced for Kalvin Phillips, because that would just be such a horrendous start to the transfer window. And Leeds of old, that is very Leeds of old, basing a lot on sentiment, you know, which is kind of a nice thing, of course, but I just wouldn't want us to do that. Let's be ruthless. Let's be, you know, let's be sort of, I don't know, cutthroat with this sort of stuff. But I just remember in those Norwich days when Leeds would play against Marcelo Bielsa's side, and Daniel Farke absolutely loved Kalvin Phillips. So let's just hope, from my standpoint anyway, that doesn't happen. He's not dependable, he's not reliable, and I just don't think he's good enough. I think the Premier League has swallowed him up and spat him back out. I think he was a player of a specific time, and post that time, don't get me wrong, he did okay for England. Yeah, okay, fine. Still was never at the levels that he was at under Bielsa. So for me, you just completely avoid that one. And if you entertain that, that will be a horrendous start for me for Leeds United in the Premier League. You know, the only way around it would be if City were paying a massive portion of his wages and Leeds United were to get him on loan, and he was almost just a deputy, a sub player to Tanaka, Ampadu and said other. Well, let me know what you think in the comment section below, everybody, regarding Kalvin Phillips. What would you do with that man? Would you go and invest? Would it be your first signing when we go up? Or would you avoid it like the plague? Let me know in the comment section below. Tune in this evening for the Hardline. We'll see you in a bit.